You're now listening to a Rat House Production podcast. For more podcasts like this, head to rethaus.net.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome
back to another episode of Hunt for the Paranormal.
Sweet.
And, I am your host, Jose Anaya. Today we have
Mike Padilla.
Aaron Marrero.
Sweet.
And today is a pretty cool episode, I think. We're going to talk about the Mothman.
Yep, cryptozoology.
And, the history of the Mothman and all that fun stuff.
Oh, yes.
Exciting.
Yeah, we'll get
exciting.
to talk about him a little bit, tell some stories that I think we've pulled up, or I have a few on here that...
A Mothman?
Yeah, at least one.
I think
But,
I got a couple, too.
Yeah. So, let's see. Let me pull this up really quick. Mothman.
Because we're so professional.
I got it right here.
Oh, sweet.
I'll just read it. In 1966, a small town in West Virginia became home to the Mothman legend. One of the modern mythology's most powerful and mysterious stories. Who or what is this creature? Or was can only be guessed, but proof of its existence is beyond a reasonable doubt.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking nuts. You guys believe it's real or no?
I don't know.
Do you guys believe in cryptozoology? That's what it is, right?
Yeah, cryptozoology.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of have a little weird theory, like anything like Bigfoot, werewolves, vampires. I think these things in the spiritual aspect, they take form of what we fear.
Yeah.
You know, so if someone was in a village back in the day and had wolves terrorize their village, you know, they lost their father.
Yeah.
I would assume if they saw a demon or a ghost or something on that lines, if it was going to show itself to make it afraid, well, it would choose half human, half wolf. So that
Makes
could be
sense.
something like that.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking interesting.
Yeah, what about you, Jose?
Me? I mean, there's so many things out there that people have seen. Like, before, the giant squid was pretty much a myth.
Yeah.
You know? And it wasn't until recent that we actually found it. And actually got proof of it and video and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I
So,
always
I
love
mean,
that because it's like, is it the chicken or the egg that came first? Was it the story
Yeah.
that bring it in? Because there's a lot of theories where us as people can manifest the world around us.
Exactly.
Like we just found dragons in Indonesia, the little small dragons that look like
the
Avatar.
I
the
want
tiny
one
little ones.
so
Right, yeah.
bad. I was like,
So is that just a coincidence that this thing just evolved into what looks like a dragon from our mythology stories? Or
Right.
who knows?
And why is it that there are so many sightings of these things? Is it just in their minds? Is it because they've been told it as little kids?
It was like the same thing with these phantom clowns. One person hears it, then it spreads that fear.
Yeah.
And then everybody's seeing it. And are they actually seeing a Mothman, or are they seeing some kind of force or entity that their mind can only make sense of, so they see what they've been told?
Yeah. Like, how many...
That's true.
How many times has, like, somebody confused a Bigfoot with a bear or something like that?
oh, multiple times.
Yeah, because bears can go up to, like, what, 6 to 8 feet or something?
Depending
on
what
the bear.
breed.
Yeah.
I
Well, see, I think grizzlies are the bigger ones, right?
No, polar bears. Polar
Just
bears.
polar?
Yeah, polar bears stand when they're on their hind legs. They stand up close to about like 9 to 10 feet tall. Grizzlies, you're looking about maybe 6 to 8. So
And then there's always the thing of, you know, mutation. So it could have just have been a rabid bear that
Yeah.
didn't have hair or had, you know, an upright walk. Or
I don't know. I think
'Cause how-
Bigfoot's
how-
always
yeah.
fuzzy.
Because...
He's a blurry
big,
creature.
Blurry monster. Right now. 'Cause how many times have people said that they caught a chupacabra, but yet it's just a coyote with mange?
Well, have you
or
seen
a wolf with
that?
mange?
Was that the last video we saw where there was a chupacabra in a cage and it's just biting each
Yeah.
wire?
Oh yeah.
I think that's a coyote with mange. Like, a lot of
Was it?
people look at it, or they say it could be a raccoon with mange, because raccoons, surprisingly, aren't small. They're
No.
big motherfuckers.
They're not.
That's true.
Yeah, they're
No,
pretty
he
fucking
was- he
big.
was a big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the same aspect too, on what you're going at on about on your theory about it too. But at the same time, like on because I'm obviously I forget I mentioned on the last one, but I was also adopted to a Cherokee tribe. So a lot of the stories in all the nations and pretty much all the native tribes and everything has some sort of truth.
Yeah.
to it. So it's especially in all natives, in like the giants, like in South America, the giant sloth,
Or the deer woman.
or the deer woman, or like
Billy Whack Ranch, the
Yeah.
Billy Whack monster, the Chivo man, Goat man.
skinwalkers and shit like that. Which
I think one that's gotten huge, which it started off as fan fiction, was the
Slender
Slender
Man?
Man.
yeah,
Slender Man was a big one that people all of a sudden they're saying that they actually see him and stuff. So maybe you're right with it though.
Well,
you know, people
I don't claim
think,
to know
yeah,
anything, but I like to throw stuff out there, and it just makes sense, especially if you look as far back as we can. Like even in the Inuits, the Alaskan people, they had mythology of monsters that would drag their children under the water.
Yeah.
Now, was that real, or was that them coping with an idea that they let their child get too close to the ice and drown themselves?
or a
Yeah.
fucking leper
Or,
seal
yeah,
grabbed them.
leper
and
seal
shit.
got them because they're small enough.
Yeah,
The human brain, we have to make sense of things that don't make sense.
which is valid. True, it's true. I agree with that as well.
I know. I'm sure you guys have thought you've seen something out of the corner of your eye, but then you're like, oh no, never mind. It was just like the shadow of the broom or something. That
yeah.
freaks you out. You'll, dude, that looks like someone standing right there.
Yeah,
Well, that's the more I've actually been going more and more into the Wiccan aspect of religion. I don't believe in disbelief in any other buddy's religion, because I grew up with Christianity and I always found it ridiculous. Like, I believe in someone who walks on water, but you're ridiculous for believing in Zeus, or like any idea like
that shit
you're
throws me
gonna
the fuck.
say
That really pisses me off.
Because I grew up hardcore Catholic, being Latino, growing up hardcore Catholic, and it wasn't until I was about like 14 where I really started questioning things just because it didn't make sense. But yeah, but I still, because being raised Catholic, you believe that people go to heaven or hell, but then there's also people stuck in limbo. You're like, could those be the spirits that we're seeing now? That they're so messed up that they don't go to hell or to heaven. They're just stuck here to suffer.
So think about this, like you're a spirit. You know, you lived your life. You probably didn't live it the best way you can, or you yourself feel like you messed up according to whatever religion you believe in. So when the time comes, you have the option: do I go on to the light, or do I just stay? And some people with unfinished business, they'll stick around and make sure their family members are okay, or they're just afraid and they stick around their family members or things that they had attachments to until sooner or later those things are ultimately gone.
I'll just be a vindictive asshole. And
So
just
what
stay.
happens?
Right? Do you think a lot of people would probably choose to stay?
I think we see evidence of that all the time.
Oh yeah,
Like imagine it, like you stayed, but after like we all held our own identity to the people we deal with, the things we have, the people, or the way we perceive ourselves. But what happens if you're a ghost? You stick around for those reasons, but sooner or later they're all gone. You got great grandkids, but they don't even know you. You don't even know them. So I think they start to lose
yeah,
that
that makes
part of
sense.
themselves.
All right. So on the last podcast, me and Mike shared a few stories of our encounters, or our what's a good word for it?
Yeah, pretty much encounters.
Our experiences of stuff. Tell us at least like one experience that you had that you can say like what the hell, like it tripped you out or creeped you out.
I got a good one. It's actually one of the first stories I wrote about, just to kind of put it out there, and it does tie to that idea of our fear. I don't believe in the idea like, oh, if this person died here, well then the place is haunted, because if you look at history, people have died on every inch of this land. And if that was the case, every place would be haunted. But I believe these things, they'll look for those moments and try to take their opportunity to either feed off you, scare you, or scare you away from whatever you're doing. When I was 8 years old, I was at my friend's house, and I've talked to him about this. He's had no experience at his house. And I hear some things like there might have been a little bit something from the sister I heard, but nothing like I saw.
Yeah.
We were there, it was back in the day with Super Nintendo, so we were going to play, and we were going to go play in my friend's mother's room.
Yeah.
So he went, I checked it out, and I went to go set up the TV, put it to channel 3, which in our area, even around here, was the Spanish channel.
Yeah.
Nothing but Spanish, hosts, game show hosts, all that kind of stuff. And I've never once seen any English on them. So he left the room to go get the Nintendo. I turned the TV on, put it to 3. Regular little show, and then it cuts to commercial. Commercial, I just can't explain it, because it started off, and it wasn't a commercial because it had no words on it, no advertisement, nothing to sell anything, which is the opposite of what TV's for. You know, so it starts off with this room, and there's this little boy tucked into a bed. And it's just like a small room. You can't really see anything but the bed frame. The kid's just tightly tucked in, and he's got nothing but stuffed animals, just stuffed teddy bears lined up as if it's a pillow.
Yeah.
Just row upon row upon row. And he had like the bowl kind of haircut of like kind of like the Pilgrims in the sense. So it kind of look old like that. And there was this woman talking to him. And as like the camera moves, it shows the bed. You don't really like see the walls, or this could be how I'm remembering it. But you can see the floorboards in between, like if the shadows were covering most of it, but you see a path between the bed and then a rocking chair. And in the rocking chair is this woman who's like covered in cobwebs, got gray hair, pale white eyes. She like almost looked like an albino in the Georgian era.
Yeah.
You know, when they wore makeup to cover up their syphilis and the powdered wigs. But she was a woman, and she's like albino and had these pure white eyes. When I first saw The Ring, brought me to tears because it kind of looked like her except dry. It just brought me back to that moment. I was just like, whoa, because that's pretty much what she looked like, just pale and dry though. And she was reading from this big book, and she was telling the boy, I forget like the details of it because she was telling him like the specific story. But as it goes, it started zooming into her eyes, and they're just milky pale white. And she's telling them, this creature, this thing, it goes from town or house to house looking for bad boys and bad girls. And as it's zooming in, it like looks directly at me, and then it says like, "You're not a bad boy, are you?" And then it just ends.
What the fuck?
Yeah, dude. My friend walked in right after, and it went straight back to like the Spanish channel, the other commercials, right? But it had nothing. And I searched, and I've searched since I was 8 for any kind of movie with an albino Georgian like era kind of deal. Nothing.
That's bizarre.
Crazy.
That's really bizarre.
I left. You know, I left at that moment. I was freaked out. You know, it was just, I didn't know what to believe at the moment, but it felt like this thing, you know, was trying to get to me. Yeah. I didn't do nothing wrong. I went to my mom, and we live like 2 houses away. Yeah. She like told her what happened, and she like asked her about it. I'm like, what do you remember? Yeah. She's just like, you look like you weren't sure what just happened.
That's crazy.
And then she asked me, it's like, well, did you do anything bad? And honestly, I was, no. So why was this thing trying to make me feel like I was guilty of something even though I wasn't? Just try to initiate that
Maybe
fear.
Trying to,
so I didn't feed into it, and I've never
That's
seen
crazy.
that
Well, that's like
since, but
that's like why I said last episode is just being a child is the innocence that we're full of innocence. That's why when me and you said we started realizing more of the paranormal between 12 and that kind of age, that age frame of our lives. But like I said, but we younger kids, everything's pure innocence. That's why fucking children's spirits scare the living shit out of me.
I grew up with horror movies, and I
me too.
You know,
I loved it.
I wasn't afraid.
I love that feeling of being scared. It to me, it's an adrenaline rush. It's fun.
Yeah, but this was it was more eternal, or like instinctual. You know,
that's weird, but cool. It's weird but cool. It's like.
But honestly, I'm like one of the biggest skeptics. If someone else told me, I'm like, well, it's probably a commercial. But
so when you see things, do you kind of try to debunk it first, unless to the point where like you can't explain it?
Yeah, I got to before I started going more into like the Wiccan aspect. I got very critical or just analytical, just like if this is our world, this is what makes sense. Yeah. So this is how it is. That's what it is. You know. But ever since I started paying attention or actually opening those doors with tarot cards. And it's not so much opening doors, but just starting to pay attention. Yeah. You know, you start to realize that those things you see in the corner of your eye aren't really fake.
See? Like I told you.
Some things are really there.
Well, there's draconic Wiccanry where they believe, like, it's the same thing as, like, fire, earth, air, and water. Yeah. But they believe in these, like, spiritual forces or entities that are represented as dragons. Same thing, you know, fiery force. Yeah. But they say when, like, in their aspect, when you see these little corner of your eyes, those are baby dragons. That's cool. So there's all kinds of different reasons behind it.
I just think that it's so interesting too that different cultures around the world and even the ancient civilizations all had similar stories of creatures or monsters or spirits or things like that. Of course, they had different names for them, but I just find it bizarre that they all had similar stories.
Yeah.
Well, that's things, but they're so far apart. It's like how can they not have been real at one point at least?
Well, even like the story of the flood, Noah's Ark.
Oh yeah.
Like if you know anything about the Babylonians, it could be spiritual, demonic, or even alien from their theories.
Well, so you know about like the Anunnaki and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But even in that idea, same stories.
Mm-hmm.
The flood came and we were warned. But it all changes and there's always redrafts.
Yeah.
Is it me or did it get a little bit darker in here?
It did.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
I think it's because of that light.
Oh yeah, the computer. Yeah, good call. But yeah, and for the listeners, the video might come out a little different because right before we were about to record, for some reason the light just turned off, like it shorted out.
Power surge.
So we got no light, so we're pretty much recording in the dark.
Spooky.
But, yeah.
Spooky.
Luckily, we got some low res light going on in the camera. So
Yeah.
that works.
Hopefully it works out.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see.
It
We'll
was
see
good
what
when we last-
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hope for the best. If not, it's all audio. It's even better.
Okay.
But yeah. So with our creepy stories there, let's hear one encounter from a person who supposedly encountered the Mothman. Yeah.
Mothman's interesting.
It's by Sandy Nichols.
Ooh.
And it starts, being a paranormal investigator, it is my responsibility to report as accurate and as possible and as much detail as possible any strange occurrence or sighting that happens my way. Over the last several years of doing this research, I have grown fairly adept at being able to discern small details in photos and videos. I use the same learned ability when doing ghost research, UFO skywatching, or any other research activity. It is in the same vein that I share this sighting that I personally witnessed on July 20th, 2005. I will not state emphatically. Sorry, my reading is shit. I will not state emphatically that what I witnessed was the actual Mothman creature, but what I did witness had general overall appearance of the creature described by others. The time was around 10:30 p.m. The night sky had emitted clouds, but I do not remember the fullness of the moon. I was traveling west on Bethesda-Arno Road in the Thompson Station, Bethesda, Williamson County area of Middle Tennessee, about 25 miles south of the Davidson County line of Nashville. My speed was 40 miles an hour, though the road is posted for 50. Bethesda-Arno is a typical country road, both curvy and straight, fairly narrow and bordered more by farmland than homes. At the exact spot of my sighting, there are 3 homes set back several hundred yards off the road and fairly steep grade on the north side of the road. The south side of the road is bordered by a fairly steep slope with a thick hedge row of mangled brush and trees, and is offset some 20 feet from the road. There are no other vehicles on the road, and my headlights were on full brightness. Alright, now the creature in this story. I first noticed the creature as I rounded a curve and continued on a short straightaway with a slight rise in elevation. My estimated distance from the creature was 300 feet, and I immediately began to slow my car. The creature was standing a foot or two off the side of the road on the south side. Behind him was the backside of a 7.5-foot tall road sign. The sign was attached to a graded metal pole. The sign itself was diamond-shaped and 3.5 feet in width from point to point, and attached 3.5 feet up the pole from the ground. The top of the creature's head was several inches above the sign, though its feet were on the ground. This would have put the creature at nearly 8 feet tall. The creature's body was covering about half of the triangular sign. The head of the creature was human in shape, but with peculiar triangular appearances as well. The head seemed a tad too large for the rest of its body. The neck was normal in appearance and attached to narrow shoulders. The chest appearance was normal, though narrower than one would have imagined. The chest area tapered down to a very thin-looking waist. The legs of the creature were long and slender, almost skinny, especially the thigh area. The thigh area extended down to the knees. Both arms were long and thin and connected to hands with 4 or 5 long, slender fingers. The face of the creature was shrouded in a shadow-like appearance, and I could discern no facial features. Yeah. Just fucking weird.
Question: what date should this person see this?
It was. When did they say it was? July 20th, 2005.
All right, look, because
Kind of got the same story or what?
well, no, I read I read that story earlier for today.
Yeah.
But my thing is, what tragic event happened? Because Mothman only appears within a few days before a tragic event happens.
Well, what did happen in around July 20th?
In Tennessee, it was so much shit going on around the world.
Because is that what it means? Like that something bad's gonna happen? In that area or in that town?
Yeah.
Or,
Because even when the first sighting of Mothman,
yeah.
I gotta mark that.
Because I know that's one theory that people say, that he shows up when disaster's about to hit, which I'm not too sure of. I haven't really heard too much about that, but I mean, hey, it's a possibility. I know you guys were talking about it earlier, where you guys said that some people have seen some sightings of Mothman around 9/11 and stuff.
Yeah, because this first sighting of Mothman was in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, November 15, 1966 to December 15, 1967. I know, like, something blew up. I know a bridge collapsed, like a major big bridge, and a bunch of people died on that and shit like that. So it's like,
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, dude.
yeah. So,
I mean, it's a big possibility that it could be either a warning, but I think I've heard that it's kind of telling people to get away from there, or tries to help them away. But
yeah, that's what a lot of people say, that Mothman is just fucking goes out there and just fucking warns people and shit.
I've actually got the top 10 explanations for the Mothman prophecy. Number 10 being the barn owl. For non-believers, that's what they believe people are seeing. Maybe just a big one. Others are saying number 9 is aliens. About the time, maybe trying to warn us of these, things about to happen. And then they also think it could be the Thunderbird, which actually is another cryptozoa.
yeah, I don't think I've heard of the Thunderbird.
Oh, I know the Thunderbird.
Native American.
Yeah, it's a really big Native American.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I've heard about it. I mean, there's a lot of things I haven't heard of that are out there.
And then also some people believe that the Mothman could actually be the angel of death. Which could make sense if they're tuned in a little bit, if they're fear or they heard about this Mothman and they're not so much religious, or they're just in that idea of they see something that they don't know and they figure it, then they see the Mothman.
Yeah. Or it could just be some crazy motherfuckers trying to mess with people.
I would.
Right.
Or
Like I'm sure there's a bunch of people who do that. They go out into the boonies and dress up as some weird creatures.
Oh,
and try to peek out and stuff, make people see them. But
they do have a festival every year for Mothman, though.
They do?
Yeah.
Do they do something similar with the New Jersey Devil, or no?
I don't think so. The New Jersey Devil, I don't remember the full story, but it's fucking crazy. It's like the lady gave birth to it. And it's like,
the lady, she had 12 children with this man that she pretty much did not love, and on the 13th child, while pregnant and about to give birth, she sold her soul to the devil, that, please don't let me have another child from this man. So the devil gave her what she wanted, and she had his child. At the moment of birth, the baby shot out of the womb and escaped through the chimney.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you guys seen that video of the New Jersey
Tapes?
where supposedly like they're running down the road or driving down the road or something like that, and they just book it? Yeah,
the Animal Planet Lost Tapes. Actually, that was a good series.
I wonder how real that was, or if they did that for pure entertainment. Which, with a lot of those shows, it's pretty much just pure entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name any shows, but there's some out there that are recorded as being fixed, as completely set up and all that stuff. But
yeah, like ours. JK.
Ours is real. I don't know how many other shows actually go ghost hunting and end up fucking getting in trouble with the cops.
Not a lot. That's true, not a lot.
But yeah, speaking of that, if you guys haven't gone and seen the video of our investigation of the Billy Whack Ranch monster, you guys should check it out. It's on YouTube in Rat House Productions. So check it out. Tell us what you think. We caught a little something in there. We don't know what it is. You guys let us know.
Yeah.
Which is, we caught a little EVP, man. I don't know if it was real.
So I found something here about the Ukrainians. They also believe in the Mothman. The nocturnal butterfly in ancient cultures, the moth represents a form of psyche or the soul, immortally trapped in the hellish realm or death realms. Mothman, well, that's what the Ukrainians called him. Rough translation, of course. There were 100 sightings in Chernobyl when the nuclear pump went down. Galveston, 1969, just before a hurricane, and they saw it, but seeing isn't always believing.
So it does kind of pop up whenever there's a disaster.
Yeah, like a major traumatic event.
And it seems to jump around, so it doesn't happen in that area. It'll be there, whether they see it as the Mothman or whatever their culture shows it as, then that's probably what they'll see it as.
That's interesting.
That is, see, like I said before, that's bizarre that multiple cultures see the same kind of things. And they have similar stories and stuff like that. But yet there's a lot of non-believers out there. Like lots of non-believers. Which, I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence with that stuff. But, because one thing's like, there's no actual proof of it. But then again, there's my other side saying, well, there's a lot of stuff we don't know. We keep on finding new animals in the ocean every day. And not even just in the ocean, but out in the wilderness every day.
Yeah, there was just a study where this man, he discovered like 2 new species in his own backyard when he decided to actually look.
Oh, man.
Holy shit.
So it happens every day.
No, it's true. It's like, shun the non-believers type of deal thing, and then you got other people, like the hardcores, it's real. This is like all the documents, and they say, well, how do you know all these documents are true? It's real. All right, cool, it's real. So it's like, I think some people that I guess with a level-headed in a sense, I don't think I'm saying it right, but whatever.
No, that makes sense.
Is that it, like we're like 3 of us, we're like in the in-between. And it's like, is it real? Who knows? But it could be at the same time fiction.
Yeah.
Just someone at that point, I saw it because I was scared shitless. You're gonna believe me. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I believe.
Well, everything's fiction before science proves it's
exactly.
real.
Oh, yeah.
We thought lucid dreams were fake, and now we got a machine that induces lucid dreams. They bring that to like an idea of Facebook, where we can all interact in our dreams.
No,
so
fuck that.
What's fantasy and what's reality is just it's time.
I think it's, I don't know, man. Reality and, like, I think just the whole interdimensional things are fucking weird.
You mean purgatory?
Could be.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Well,
you have to get it right.
because they say that somebody was saying that like extraterrestrials aren't just physical beings, but they're interdimensional beings.
Yeah.
So they can be in this room right now and us not even know it, and they're just watching us.
Well, that's why, like, I think the theory of the shadow people. Are those ghosts, or are those just things on another, dimension that know how to gaze in, because they're always just watching. Fuck shit.
So sometimes they fuck with you and start throwing things.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced something like that, where something like jumps off a shelf or something about you?
I haven't seen like that, because I think that probably would freak me out. But I have like seen things in the dark, like shadow people. But then again, there's no solid proof behind it. Didn't have it on film.
Have you heard any like voices or anything at all?
Well, I've had I don't think it was from something bad, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm a diabetic, so there was one time where I was asleep, and all of a sudden or actually I fell asleep with a candle burning. I had some incense going, which you never should fall asleep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I wasn't planning on it, but I just nodded off because I was meditating, and I swear it was like someone said something in my ear. I don't know what they said, but it sounded like a solid sound, within my own head that woke me up, And then I got up, looked around, I was like, oh, thank you, and then blew it out, and nothing to worry about, So it can happen each way, but it's the more you pay attention, the more you'll start to hear things. Like, I don't even claim to know, but it's just what happened to me. I started a dream journal, and 3 days before the election, I had a dream I met Donald Trump.
That's weird.
Yeah, I shook it. Like, I didn't like the guy. I'll be honest. I didn't vote for him. And
I didn't vote for him.
But in my dream, I shook his hand. I had some kind of the occurrence where I met him and I shook his hand, and it's kind of like how I feel now. It's like, well, we got no choice. We got to give it a chance,
Yeah.
So like, yeah. But it was just weird. And then the week before, I had a dream. Like my nieces and nephew came over. I haven't seen them in 6 months due to like things.
Yeah.
And they came over that weekend without knowing. Like, so
That's great.
It's been trippy.
Do you think that since you've been dabbling more into the wicked aspects of religion, that you're kind of becoming more sensitive to it?
Well, I wouldn't even call it like the more wicked aspects of it, because it's all just relative.
Yeah.
I even believe God sometimes does evil.
Let's say like you've been tapping more into the spirituality.
Yeah, just paying attention. Really.
Yeah. Do you think you are becoming more sensitive to it?
Oh,
Where
yeah.
you actually can sense certain things?
Yeah, it's been getting to that point, but it's more in the sense of like self-growth or just getting like, I don't know, it's been weird because I never got visions before, but it's starting to get there.
Kind of like a spiritual awareness.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Or just like paying attention to the signs and the warnings. Like some things, it's like you're talking about something and then you see it on TV later that day.
Yeah, like I don't know how to explain deja vu. I always
like
get that a lot, but
yeah.
I don't know how quite to explain that.
I like to think of it as like the multiversal theory. We're always living billions and trillions of different lives in the multiversal theory.
Yeah.
So what if you're just, kind of feeling the vibration from that other realm?
That's interesting.
Because you've probably lived that same moment
Yeah.
a billion different ways.
No, I admit, because a lot of
That's
my
true.
deja vu goes on. Usually, I don't know, maybe deja vu, when they experience deja vu is probably all different. But I know me, there's a lot of instances that have happened when it would have been like a dream for me. But it had been like I was a kid type of deal thing, and all of a sudden it will strike me like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I fucking remember this type of deal. I was like, damn. So, I don't know. That's weird.
Well, I've had like a lot of instances where I guess I dreamt something before, but it doesn't happen till about a few months later. And it's they're wearing the exact same thing. They say the exact same lines, same laugh. Every little thing is down to the T.
Now, so
And
you start taking a journal and start writing it down, and then like later on filling it in like this did happen,
I wish I could do that.
and that actually helps because
The thing is, I really don't remember a lot of my dreams until that deja vu happened. Where I'm like, dude, I've fucking
comes
seen
back,
this
yeah.
before. Yeah.
But that could be it. We have thousands of dreams a night, and we can only remember maybe one or two.
Yeah. Which is bizarre, man.
I really don't.
I remember the
that.
good ones. I remember the really good ones, but I rarely ever remember my dreams until a deja vu happens. Where I like somebody will say that, I'm like, okay, one of this person's gonna say something, and they say it, I'm like living it. I'm like, that's where it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, watch. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, he's gonna come out of the door, and sure enough, like, hey, you guys need something? I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Well, like any advice for anybody who wants to start remembering the dreams, start off with a dream journal. Everybody suggests it, and the way I look at it is by writing, it's kind of like when you're studying, you remember it more when you write things down, and by writing it, you're kind of connecting to that subconscious part of your brain. So the more you do it, the more it becomes like when you're driving a car, you kind of tune out, it becomes second nature. So the more you actively try, the more it will just actively, naturally happen.
Yeah, you're kind of using that muscle more and more.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I've never tried. I've tried to remember dreams, but it seems like the harder I try to remember them, the more I forget.
Yeah,
type
no.
of thing.
I actually just had the first dream where I told myself this is a dream. And that was crazy because I've never had, like, it started off with first having monologues in your own mind within the dream, which was new. And then it evolved more and more, and just little by little by little. Yeah.
Have you gotten to the point where you can actually control the outcome of your dream?
Not necessarily, no. I've been flying more and more, which is, they say, is like one of the first signs. But even when I try to fly, like, the reality part of the brain kicks in, and it's like, you shouldn't be flying.
You're stupid!
You start lowering down to the earth, I have to, like, grab off a roof and launch myself, but it's never, because I'm too tied to this reality. The first thing they say is start questioning, like, when you wake up, am I still dreaming? And then if you ask yourself more and more, you'll start to ask yourself in the dream.
That's interesting. I need to try that.
Yeah.
Because I had a friend who was practicing lucid dreaming, and he said that there's different ways where if you look at a clock, like the clock will just keep on spinning, you're like, oh, okay, I'm in a dream. Or the classic, pinch yourself. And he said that he was dreaming and some people were breaking into his house. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, dude, is this real or is this a dream? And he just pinched himself, and when he pinched himself, he pulled, and his skin just got like longer and longer. He's like, I'm dreaming right now. He's like, holy shit. He's like, dude, I think I can do this. And from there, he just controlled his dream.
That's nice.
Yeah, he said the people were breaking in, and he's like, dude, I need some swords. And he just got swords out, and he just started messing them up. Yeah, just started messing them up. So that was,
I can't
that
wait
was a
for
crazy
that.
dream. Yeah.
I don't know. For me, on that aspect, I'm kind of wary of that.
Yeah.
Especially the stuff like.
Is it because of like Insidious and stuff?
That is a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, well, our friend, I strongly believe that he's a fucking dream walker.
Yeah.
So.
Well, some people are just
Could be.
naturally, like one of my friends, when I first started telling him, I had no idea that he had experiences, and he's like, oh, you're trying this? Just from my own advice, be careful. You know, like, because he hasn't told me a story, and I'll probably bring him on here so we can get those
I'm down
stories
with
like
that.
ourselves.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because from the sounds of it, he was afraid, you know, and
Well,
it's something that
that's-
kept him away from it from now.
That's my thing with on that aspect. There's a door, and some doors are meant to be locked forever.
Yeah, there's something you should not ever open.
So it's like,
See, I love breaching that wall.
but that's the thing too.
Me
That-
too, though. I
don't
love
get
it.
me wrong. No,
It's a
Wait,
huge fear.
here, I got another story.
Okay.
From like one of these lucid dreams kind of thing, and the way I look at dreams, it's either could be spiritual or it's 50-50. You know, you're astral projecting while you sleep, and that's what you're doing. But your mind is still in control.
Mm-hmm.
So as you see that world, it starts to manifest as the world you see in your everyday life. So it's half spiritual, half psyche.
Yeah.
You know? In that aspect, I had a dream that I was at Central Park in Whittier, and it was just it's middle of the night, and I'm just like kind of low to the grass.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I got there. I just started there, and there's this clown walking around the park. You know, just the same one from those pranks where he's just hiding out on that. It's that guy, pretty much that dude. And the way I look at it, maybe like since I was writing a story at the time involving all that, that's where my subconscious was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But in the spiritual aspect of it, this thing was something dark trying to approach me.
Yeah.
You know, it came up.
That's fucking scary.
It came up to me, and I had the thought like, oh, what am I going to do? I'll jump up in front of it and try to scare him.
Yeah.
As it got close, I jumped up, and it doesn't even move. It just like looks down at me, and then I woke up, or I just
See,
Hell no.
That's the thing. I'm probably speaking for three of us here. Is like, yes, it's just a question of the unknown. I want to know, but for myself, is like I want to know, but at the same time, I don't want to know.
Yeah,
at the same thing, it's like, do I really want to open this door? And then I'm just like,
But there's safe procedures you can
Well,
do.
yeah, that's
Like
the
I
thing.
got some polychrome jasper. And
Yeah.
that's used by shamans to do safe travel.
but that's the
between
thing.
worlds.
Not everybody does it. This is the thing. Like,
Yeah,
It's kept me safe.
well, that's what I'm saying. But it keeps you safe. But it's sometimes the
Oh, you have to believe in it.
you have to believe in it. But there's also the people that don't know how to do it. That's the scary thing.
Oh, yeah, I go into the paranormal stuff just raw. Like I don't go in
Yeah.
with any sage and nothing. I just go in like
Fuck it, no condom. We're going in.
Yeah, pretty much. I just go in like if something's there. If I feel that something's there, I just try to talk to it and see if I get any.
Okay,
But then that could be dangerous as well.
yeah, on that
Yeah.
aspect, yeah, I'll do that. But like involving my own like conscience, my mind, I'm like super worried about it.
Yeah, like especially if I know if I'm by myself, like a lot of times I'll be in my house or something, and I know that there's nothing that can pull energy from. I just tell it to pull energy from me, which I know is pretty dumb.
Yeah. Well, see, and for me, I like doing shit like that. I have to be careful because I'm like a medium conduit type of deal thing. So I track shit constantly. So it's like. I'm like, let's go to the cemetery. I'm like, yeah, and then they're like, don't bring shit back. I'm like, well.
Yeah, which I'm gonna try to find a day where we can try to investigate my house for a few hours.
Dude, I really want
Bring
to.
cards.
Yeah, because I don't think I'll bring a Ouija board in there because
No.
that.
No.
Well, that's the thing, because you could consider the tarot cards just as much as the Ouija board.
No, but here's
But it's those negative connotations
Yeah.
that kind of curse it, You instantly think negative ideas, so you're going to pull in.
Well, I never saw the cards as negative. I just saw the Ouija
Well, that's
board.
exactly
That's
why
what-
you don't have the same...
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't have negative connotations on pinche cartas.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind the cards at all, just because I don't see them as bad.
But I'm saying like it's that connotation or ideas of things that really make those what they are.
Yeah, I think as long as you know how to open the door and properly
close
it, well, get the thing out and then close it, I think you're fine. Because some people will close the door but leave that motherfucker still in there.
So, hey,
That's another thing. A lot of these Ouija board cases you hear, these people are calling these things to their house, yet they're not taking it serious. You know,
Yeah, they're calling it in there and saying, and once they get freaked out, oh fuck this, they throw the game. We're not playing anymore.
Or they entice the thing, you know. So even if this thing was good or bad to begin with, you just invited someone to your house and then insulted them.
See, that's my problem.
Yeah.
Like if I don't get an answer, I'll start doing that. And then one time I did get an answer. I think I told it in the last podcast.
yeah.
Yeah, I got an answer real quick.
Exactly.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
But then it's just kind of rude. Like, so even if it's dark or good, like I meditated and I saw that black shadow, and it didn't make me feel like it was something to be afraid of. I just thought it was
like,
there.
That thing wanted to let you know it was.
It kind of looked like I was just laying in bed looking up, and it looked like it looked down at me, like if someone came to the side of my bed and just like gazed down like that.
A little bit of smart ass.
Well,
And I sunk back. You know, I'm like, hey, I don't know if you're good, bad. I'm gonna please ask you to
But
leave.
did you bring chips?
Mike, you know about dreams and stuff, right?
To an extent, yeah.
What do reoccurring dreams kind of mean? Because I had an instance where I had the same dream every night for a week, but the location changed, but the situation was still the same.
What was the situation?
Yeah.
Like first, I woke up in the middle of the night, but I had like the sleep paralysis, you know, where I couldn't move.
Yeah.
So I felt like something was just holding me down. I couldn't move. And I was like, dude, get the fuck off. And
Yeah.
I moved, and then I was able to move again, and then I went back to bed. But then the dream that I had right after that happened was me and a bunch of friends were just hanging out. We're all hanging out, and then all of a sudden these like little invisible like alien type creatures or something that you can't really see, but you kind of like you know like the Predator, how you can only see the silhouette,
Yeah.
or like the outline of something moving. It was just that,
Solid
but
horror.
yeah, but I was stuck up against the couch, like on the couch, like not able to move. But these things were sucking my friends into like portals, just taking them away, and that happened every night for a week,
Have you talked to your
like
friends about this?
every single day. No,
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah,
Talk to
did
who?
they have any
Your
dreams?
friends about it.
uh-uh.
The one, especially the friends that were in your dream.
I was thinking they would rotate, like the friends and location would change.
Yeah, well, ask each one.
Yeah, you have,
because
yeah.
at certain times they could have been having the same dream, you know, at that time.
This
was
was
that
like
maybe?
a few years ago.
And it
probably
could have been
2-3
like
years
maybe
ago.
your connection with them that you were gazing into that
Yeah.
or something that I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was weird.
I know. They're like reoccurring dreams are weird in a sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like your aspect of it. Because what happened with you is like pretty much you guys were all in sync type of deal thing.
Yeah.
And if like you want to go on like the way left wing on this, people will say that y'all been abducted by aliens type of deal thing.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go on the right wing of it, and then if you want to go on the spiritual aspect of it, that something was happening to you guys. And the fact that it doesn't mean individually it was you, it was happening to your friends. But your guys were in sync.
Gotcha.
So that's the only thing. And then
For that, if you guys friends, the same thing with lucid dreaming. You know, it could have been dreams where you guys are hanging out.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah. Well, one dream that I had, I don't know why, it's just a regular dream, but like is things that me and my buddy really do all the time. Sit in the backyard, literally laugh at nothing, just bust up.
Yeah.
I woke up just like I remember it was me and my buddy sitting in the backyard just laughing at nothing. And I'm waking up and I'm still laughing hard, like if I was really there. I just could not stop. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was trying to go back to bed and I was still laughing hard. I was like, dude, it's just ridiculous. I don't know what we were laughing at, just nothing. We're just sitting in the dark, just laughing.
You just brought back, I had a dream kind of like that, and I woke up like I was crying in the dream, and I woke up just covered in tears, but kind of the idea of someone being taken away like that.
Yeah.
I was at another park in Whittier. I don't know, just a different park this time, which is kind of strange that they both happened. But my mother, or it was the spirit of my mother, you know, and like out of nowhere, I was playing at the park, and out of nowhere, it's like she jumped out and like, help me, someone's coming to get me, and then like I grabbed the arms, and then her spirit is kind of just pulled away.
what the fuck?
You know, and I was crying, and I woke up and I was covered in tears.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe semi-form of lucid dreaming where you actually feel the emotion. And
Yeah.
you wake up and you're actually doing that. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that
then
was
again, you know,
way too
we
real.
have the sleep paralysis thing, where it's that chemical that keeps us from feeling or acting out what's actually happening in the dream.
So sometimes you think it could just possibly be a chemical imbalance at that moment.
It's a possibility. I can't
Where
deny the
where
possibility.
like not enough of that chemical was released. So
Yeah.
because people who sleepwalk and stuff, you know, that chemical is probably not being released for them. They're just doing everything the hell they want.
But that's another thing, though, with the sleep paralysis thing. Like, so many people go through it and see the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You know, like I had an aunt, and she had this man she was dating at the time in her youth, and one night he was just like gargling and just making weird noises in his sleep, kind of like the demon or like someone possessed. And she like freaked out and just kind of did the cross on his back and just like kind of sat there. And the next day he's like, "Hey, what did you do to me?" I was like, "Don't do that again." You know?
What?
Yeah, the guy the next day he's like, "Hey, what did you do to me last night?" And he's like kind of tugging at his shoulder and stuff. She's like, "Nothing." It's like, "Well, whatever you did, don't do it again." You know, and then after they broke up, supposedly she had this occurrence with one of these walkers, because blocks away from their house, she like wakes up in the dream, it's like sleep paralysis. She's just laying there, but she can hear this thing walking 3 blocks away. Just the footsteps, doom, 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 coming closer, closer. She can hear it coming to the side door, coming into her house, and then standing at the foot of her bed.
It could have been a possession, though.
Yeah, it's all a possibility. Or this thing was just like he sent something after her just to scare the crap out of her. The next day, all her doves, birds, animals were all dead.
That's
weird. Wow.
Yeah, that's.
And I always thought like, oh, she's just making this up. But then as I got older, this is before the internet was out, and I hear all these other cases of sleep paralysis.
Yeah. Sleep paralysis is weird. Like that was the first time it's ever happened to me. I'm not saying that something was on top of me, holding me down, but I don't know.
You
sleep
felt
paralysis.
it.
Yeah. It feels like something's pushing you down and you can't move.
And where I've seen it, but never felt that.
Yeah.
Wait, how you've seen it?
Well, I've seen like the shadow figures and things that you would normally see during sleep paralysis, but I've never been able to not get up.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, I remember after my grandma died, there's one moment because I was in her room, the room that she actually died in, and I was messing with my dresser, and all I feel is like a quick little like touch like on my shoulder, on my elbow, like where she usually like grabs people's arms to walk with them and stuff. And like it didn't freak me out. It was literally just that little tiny spot.
Yeah.
That little tiny spot. Just I got the chills just in that spot, and I just looked. I was like, "My grandma, I'm doing fine." Blah blah. And then it just slowly went away.
See, that shows that you're in tune. Because if not, then you would not know it was your grandma.
Yeah.
And the idea that
I was just trying not to freak myself out.
It's like
too. So
I don't know if you are, but
just
hi,
in case.
grandma.
Yeah.
Or grandma, protect me.
Well, supposedly, my sister's ex-husband, before they even got married, they were hanging out, and my room was across the hallway from my sister's room, and they're both in there. And my sister's ex-husband, he didn't even know that my grandma had passed away, let alone passed away in that house.
Oh wow!
And he's like, "Who's that lady?" So I was like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, like the little like blonde lady. Like who is that? Like, I already talked about. She kind of just ignored it. And then later she's like, yeah, that little lady was my grandma. He's like, oh, why don't you introduce me? Because she died probably a year ago. Yeah. So he saw her, but a little bit younger than what she was when she died and stuff.
Oh wow.
Which is
that
weird.
happens so much.
Oh yeah, it does.
Like supposedly my little niece saw her too, and
oh yeah. No.
Niece saw her. She's like, oh yeah, she looks beautiful, and she was like just sitting there, just talking to her. Little niece was probably like 3 or 4.
That's
just
crazy.
talking to grandma.
See, that's what all these psychics say. They're like, we've all had this ability to see and commune and deal with this.
Just fucking block it
society.
But the older we
us.
get, the more our mind comes in.
Yeah. Oh, I think that might be yours, Mike.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more we get older, the more we'll mix like, you're afraid or you saw a shadow. Oh, it's just my mind playing tricks on me. You always have an excuse for whatever happens.
Yeah.
Oh, like this is moved over here. Well, maybe I moved it.
Yeah,
or
that's
they
the thing.
moved it, or this moved it. You're never thinking that it could be that, and we just ignore it.
Well, it's like what we talked about last week is that people just God damn me, freaking that we choose. Especially the people that don't believe in it, it's like they try to make so many logical.
Yeah, they try to make so much sense of it that it eventually doesn't make
sense. It's like, yes, the wind blew in, moved all the books across the living room
Yeah,
on a
move that bottle,
non-winning day. It's like,
which is weird.
yeah, it makes no fucking sense. So it's like, or on the aspect, like your dad, or for some other people that they somewhat believe in it, but they don't believe in it, and then they didn't like, and then when like, especially the spirit's like, hey, I'm here, notice me. No, you're not real. Fuck you. Now I'm going to really fuck with you.
Yeah, because my little niece now, she used to get woken up all the time at night, and she would say as the man with the black face, or the man in black.
Yeah.
And to this day, she still says that she sees the guy in black, or she gets freaked out. Like randomly in nights, she'll wake up crying or just get freaked out. And we ask her every time where'd she see him. She says in the hallway.
And this is your house, you were saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like the weird thing is too that when my sister was at her old job, that she had a friend who practiced, like, she had a spiritual guide. Like her friend had a spiritual guide, so she did like the whole medallion thing where it spins for yes or something like that.
Oh yeah, the pendulum.
Yeah, the pendulum. She did that, so I guess she asked some questions for my sister, just on her behalf. And supposedly there's a guy in my house. I don't know if he's still there or not, but he's like a mean guy, but he's not going to do anything to us. But he just wants us to know that he's there and that he's not going to leave.
So and that could be somebody who he stayed behind. Now he has no family left over,
Yeah.
but he wants to be acknowledged.
Yeah, because we hear a whole bunch of creepy stuff in my house. Like, it's just weird shit.
See, but then like
But
maybe we can go in and try to commune. Like, hey, we get it. We get you want to be seen and
Calm
heard
the
of.
fuck down, bro.
But why don't you do it in a nice, productive way?
Yeah.
You know, Why
Mow
don't
the
you-
grass,
you know,
walk the dogs.
yeah, something.
It's like, do the dishes.
Well,
They're there.
A lot of people love to have purpose. Yeah.
Right?
Dishes are piling up, bro. Come on, George. It's George now.
Right. Why is it that most people name their if they think they have a ghost or like they get like a spider pet just randomly there, they always call it George.
Because it's funny.
Just always just, hey, you know what, George? Just come on, George.
Oh, George.
Yeah, it could be like a little old lady. You're calling it George, probably pissing her off. Like, my name's not fucking George.
Fucking Suzanne. Damn it, Jose. Get it right.
Big fans of George of the Jungle.
Right. Okay, so back to the whole dream chinga thingies,
Yeah.
right?
I love how this evolved from Mothman to like.
I know. And we're very. And
Well, I think
It all
it kind
connects.
of goes.
it all goes in
Yeah.
together. I think the episode should be called Mothman and some more shit.
Yeah, probably.
But okay,
Really
so do you believe the fourth plane concept?
The fourth plane? Well, like, that's the thing. Like, what do you mean fourth plane?
The mirrors.
Yeah, where mirrors are like portals.
Oh, okay, so like the Lovecraftian kind of like
Yeah.
aspect, or
Stuff,
like
yeah.
the whole other realm,
Yeah.
or the dark realm.
Yeah. So I don't know. Have you
that's
ever
the
done
thing.
it?
What do you mean, like stare into a mirror?
Well, type of deal. Have you done it?
Well,
Wait,
that's-
what's the whole myth with that? You
Okay,
stand
so
in the
pretty
mirror-
much on the
There's
it only
a couple.
there's a couple ways, but the easiest fucking way to do it, it's like you go in your bathroom, and obviously you have the main mirror, and then usually the medicine cabinet has a mirror, and then when you open it and you angle it just right, you can see infinite mirrors,
Yeah.
reflections. Usually on the fourth one,
Oh,
you see the sinister side of you,
I never heard
like the
that.
darkest part of you.
So what if that's maybe just tapping into the multiverse
Yeah.
theory, where you seeing that like the fourth one is generally
Well, the thing-
one you're making the wrong decision.
But here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at because I've done it and it's fucking creepy. Because if you look throughout all the reflections,
yeah.
everything looks the same except for the fourth one.
I'll check that out.
And
Well,
then-
because that's the thing. There's anytime I hear about mirrors or gazing into glass or anything like that, it's scrying. You know,
Yeah.
SC, RY or ING.
Yeah. So, yeah, but the whole scrying thing is like, but the thing is that if you gaze into that fourth reflection type of deal thing long enough, is pretty much you guys will switch bodies type of deal.
Well, fuck that.
Exactly.
Well, just the fact that you put that shit out there. Now when someone
people are
does
gonna
it, like
try
if you're
it.
meditating and I'm trying to communicate with the cards, by doing that, you're doing a ritual.
Yeah.
In order to really communicate with the darkest version of yourself. And
Yeah.
if
So
you're
you
thinking
can,
about,
you can kind of combine different things,
I would
right?
imagine, because think about this, like if there's multiverse theories, or like the multiverse theories, that there's a million different versions of ourselves, or
Yeah.
infinite. If we're equally trying to get to our enlightenment, wouldn't there be another side of ourselves that's trying to get to the demonic aspect?
Yeah.
So that could be like, and if that side gets there first, or your enlightened side gets there first, it could be an internal battle. I don't know.
Right, where your evil side is trying to get to our reality to do some other crazy shit.
Or every demonic force you're dealing with is essentially your inner demons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which that's where ayahuasca comes in. Fight those inner demons.
Well, sure has helped me.
That's for a whole different podcast.
Right. I got some information.
Ayahuasca's a whole different cookie.
Yeah, it is.
Well, there's one black magician I just cross-reference with, and he says, like, in order to really get like a feel with shrooms, they had to do 5 grams. Which for to me, that is completely too much.
Too much.
You know, like, oh my god. Yeah.
No.
Fuck that.
Yeah. But no wonder why he's seeing the spiritual side.
Yeah.
You know? That's
probably seeing
bordering
everything,
death.
man.
Yeah.
Colors.
No way.
The paint is melting.
We'll dive into that further later.
Yeah, that's for a whole different show.
Yeah.
That shit was creepy.
Oh shit. Where yeah. This is one time I was in the bathroom. We had a weird like paint, just blotches of it, and just started looking into it and seeing like these things dance. You know, when you're like on that.
Yeah.
But then it started to form to something really dark, and like started to look like a clown. So I was like, all right, fuck this, I'm out.
So it seems like your main fear is like a clown type of thing.
Well,
right?
I don't. It's weird. It's like a love-hate relationship, and that's what I think with all this phantom clown stuff going on. It's just we all grew up with Stephen King's It, or at least like my generation.
And then now the release of the new ones coming.
Exactly, and it's just weird because back in the day in 1983, that's when this stuff first started happening. You know, clowns, people dressed up like clowns and trying to like lure people in, or just these darker kind of things. But then Stephen King's It didn't come out until 1987.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think that was like the first pandemic.
History tends to repeat itself.
And then again, I think it's just feeding off fear. These things found a new conduit, and now they're having fun with it.
You think the spirits like change up the way, like the evil ones change up the ways they freak us out?
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
They evolve. And then again, what was I saying? They don't choose to make themselves look like that. They're
We do.
basing it off of our fears, and mixing it all into something we would really be shaken to the bone.
Yeah, that's creepy.
And there's something like papayas ghosts. They're like,
The what?
They're called like papaya, I think, like
I have
something
no
like
idea.
that. Where it's a weird name. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but it's like Japanese mythology where there's spirits that can actually take the form of fictional characters.
Yes. Yes.
That is
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. And then I read about these other things called like servitors, like in the witch aspect, where you can create fictional characters for yourself
Yep.
to do things for you in the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird, man.
Servitor.
So yeah, be afraid. Like, be careful with what you're afraid of, because ultimately you're just putting up red flags for yourself.
Yeah, you're making scary shit for yourself. It's scarier.
But that's also what scares me, because what the fuck is gonna show up if I'm in the attitude like, oh, if it tries to scare me, good luck. It's gonna dive into the darkest, deepest aspects of my brain and just.
For me, and they're fucked because for me it's like I think like the major thing of me being afraid of is actually being alone. So it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this to him. He's like, dude, he's afraid of being alone. But like,
Ooh, so that would be good for investigations. Put you in a room alone.
no, okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Wait,
Anything-
okay.
He's like, no, I ain't doing that.
Rephrase that. Let me rephrase that.
Uh-uh.
I have no problem being alone. It's just like alone from like reality and everything.
So in a room of solitude, you would go fucking crazy quick.
No.
No?
I'm already fucked up in the head.
I already talked to myself.
I already talked to myself. Voice number 5 said hello, and 6 wants tacos.
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, I hope you guys liked our Mothman.
Mothman, shadow people.
Fucking magic
Shadow
rats,
people,
people like,
clowns.
what the fuck?
Interdimensional beings, clowns, creepy
Everything.
stories. A little bit of everything for you guys.
But
So
like-
maybe
like what
we'll,
they
we'll
say, the
maybe
only
we'll
thing
keep
to
this
fear.
show like this. Just a little
fucking
bit, little bit of
Little bit
random.
that, little
Yeah, a
bit
little bit
this.
of lore here,
We'll
a little
label
bit of
it
stuff
with the
that.
key points.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Mothman and shit.
And with that, I think we're gonna call the episode because we're running at about almost an hour.
All right.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, well, wonder there, guys. Make sure to check out our YouTube, Rat House Productions, and check out rathouse.net, rathaus.net for all the other podcasts. And we're going to be uploading either weekly or bi-weekly, but we'll figure that out for you guys. We'll let you know when it's up. Check out our Hunt for the Paranormal page on Facebook.
Yep, Hunt for the Paranormal podcast.
And if you guys want some horror stories, just Google Acidic Aaron. I got some free ones up there, and even some stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, we wouldn't mind having you back on.
Oh yeah, dude.
Totally get some more stories, get some more stuff.
I'll research.
Sweet. And also, we also like to encourage everybody, our listeners and viewers, well, except for this freaking episode, who knows? Go on our Facebook page, message us, or post a story of one of your paranormal encounters. If it has to deal with ghosts, aliens, anything, post them up there, and we'll love to share it. So, if
Jared, or even dive in a little deeper, I can always bring in the cards and try to get some.
We can try that for.
Dude, I'm down.
We can try that for an episode.
Yeah. So, and then so if you guys think you don't want to share and think people you're crazy. We don't. So.
Yeah, just keep sharing. Keep the love of the paranormal alive, people.
Is
which is kind of ironic, but yeah.
Yeah,
All right, well, till next time, everyone.
Good night, people.
Good night.